What if you could reach new customers, generate more income, and strengthen local food systems? Those questions led Lauren Lovejoy to create the Red Hen app for farmers and eaters just like you. If you're the woman who does it all, farm work, housework, bookwork, homework, getting up at the break of dawn, this is the podcast for you.
How do you multiply by fractions now?
Get away from the cares of the day. Free stock, root stock, feed stock, seed stock. Chat with women around the world who raise food, flowers, and fun. With your host, Kay Castrataro. That's me. Welcome back to Food, Flowers, and Fun. I am your host, Kay Castrataro. As always, we are sponsored by Penlight for Farmers, helping you create purposeful farm lives rich in time, energy, and abundance. And today I have got a real treat for you. This is Lauren Lovejoy of the Red Hen app and also Blue Horn Farm. Lauren, welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. So excited to chat.
So glad to have you. And full disclosure out there, Lauren and I are both coming off of our respective illnesses, so there might be a little bit of a going on. And aren't you glad that we are virtual and you don't have to be contaminated by us? But we're gonna have a lot of fun. So Lauren, tell us how you got into your farm journey, what it is you're doing with the Red Hen app, what possessed you to do all of this stuff.
Yeah, a journey I didn't expect to take, but I'm so happy I did. You know, life does that. So when I was in my 20s, I was on normal trajectory, college, corporate job, all that good stuff. And all of a sudden, one day I wake up so sick that I can't get out of bed. Okay, that's going to pass. No worries. That's a thing that happens. And then months and years start going by and I can't figure out what's wrong with me and I can't get better. So basically my entire life took a trajectory right off the cliff.
Right.
And about 2 years in, I finally got diagnosed with Lyme disease, which was in a chronic form at that time. It took me a lot of years to start the journey. If anybody has Lyme disease, they know it's a complicated illness that has a lot of misinformation and not standardized treatment. So it took me a long time to recover.
Talk a little bit about your experience with Lyme? Because I got to tell you, the tick-borne diseases are super close to my heart. I had a grandfather who was infected with, I think it was about a dozen different types of tick-borne diseases at the same time and literally almost died. Like there was an Easter we got together and we figured we were saying goodbye to him. And it was only through long targeted treatment from a tick specialist basically who was able to start touching just a couple at a time, because like you couldn't do all of them or the dying off process would actually kill him of the disease. So talk to us about what that looks like for you, because Lyme's tricky because it looks different in everybody. So what did it look like for you?
And that's why it was so complicated, is I presented very different symptoms than the standard person does. Like my first symptom was a panic attack for the first time in my adult life. And so of course we started down that road of like, oh, it's psychosomatic. You're just overworked, women in the medical field. I won't get into that rant, but essentially I saw 60 doctors in 2 years in Western medicine, and all of them could not identify that it was Lyme disease. So,
oh my goodness.
To go down that road, basically the tick bites you. It can carry a variety of tick-borne diseases. You have like a window of time, more or less 30 days, in which the bacteria is in the blood. After that, the bacteria starts penetrating deeper into the body, into organs, into soft tissue. And that's when it becomes very complicated, because the doxycycline that you would typically be given works blood level, very surface level. And once the bacteria has burrowed all the way deep in, it doesn't work because it's in all these different forms and it's very protected. So that's why people who have had it for a long time are not feeling relief. Just take doxycycline for a little while, you'll feel better.
So interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah. So keep going with this. I'm learning a lot right now. And
I can tell you all kinds of things about Lyme. I'll try to keep it short.
I'm telling you, and this is important for farmers because my family, I don't know as any of us have been unaffected by Lyme or, another tick-borne illness. And so like when you're outside, that whole idea that, oh, you have to be in the woods or you have to be in long grass or those are all misnomers. Like you can, my my grandmother picked up a deer tick in her very short lawn doing gardening. So like
I was in the city running on concrete, right? Like,
in the city running on concrete. So you didn't even look like a typical risk case because who thinks
exactly.
about it in the city? But there are
Yeah.
deer and there are mice,
There
which
are ticks everywhere.
that's
Like,
but that's the life pattern and
Yeah.
you can hit it. Oh
Uh,
man, so
yeah.
interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
once it does get into that, muscular and tissue level, what happens then? Like how do you treat that?
For some people, they go to a Lyme specialist who will put you on a variety of antibiotics. I did that and I was not successful with it. And that was because I had other conflicting conditions that I found out about. We just kept peeling the onion and finding more problems. But what I do recommend to people and what is my usual go-to is there are lots of herbal remedies. And I say this as somebody who had never touched an herbal in my life before I met Lyme disease, but it is what I see actually works for people. There are multiple different protocols you can buy on Amazon and over the counter. Like those are what got me better.
Now,
And the
remember,
difference
we are not
is,
doctors. We do
uh,
not offer medical advice here.
yeah.
And please undertake any medical actions in consultation with your doctor. So this is
Always.
an option. I'm telling you this because I can see this going badly very quick.
No, no. So
But
no
but this
specific
is this
medical
is our
advice,
personal
but
experience here, boys and girls. So we are
yeah,
sharing what we've learned ourselves and then
yeah.
take that and sift it through
Yeah.
your professionals, your experience, always, always.
Consider herbals. Don't discount it. For me
Right.
personally, herbals were life changing for me. I am technically considered in remission from multiple tick-borne diseases,
Amazing.
so the agony of going through Western medicine as a woman with an undiagnosable condition, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So I always just look for alternatives. There are great ones out there, and you are able to get better. And for farmers that are exposed to it, early treatment always the best thing. Always be cautious. Like tiny bite can just change the whole trajectory. And if you
Yeah,
think farming's
don't
hard,
ignore
just
your
add a
body
disease.
symptoms. Yeah. So you said your first symptom was a panic attack. Did you have other, yeah, there are two things I want to do. Don't forget to bring me back to the herbals if I forget about it. But your symptoms, you said that you had the panic attacks, and then did you have other symptoms on top of that, I would imagine?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, hundreds of symptoms because that's what's frustrating about Lyme is it likes to morph and change over time. So my first symptom was a panic attack. I then started having episodes of lightheadedness where I would almost like fall over. Like I wasn't technically like passing out, but I was disoriented to the point I felt unsafe to drive, unsafe to be, doing normal daily
Like
things.
dizziness or vertigo kind of thing.
Yeah, and so it really morphed into then we never really arrived at a good name, but vertigo is the best way I can say it. That the only place I was really comfortable was like laying down in a very specific position. If I was up, I felt unsure on my feet, like I was going to fall over
Yeah.
at all points in the day, constantly, and that was pretty unlivable. And that probably lasted about 3 years before I really started getting in and remediating. And what that is bacteria messing with the glands in the brain that keep you
Perfect
stable and keep you
balance.
functioning.
Oh man,
So
that
that
just
was an
sounds.
interesting experience.
Yeah, so did you get any of the typical like muscle joint? None of that.
Nothing. Anything
None of
normal
that.
is not for me. I get the atypical, the strange, that's me. And
Oh, we
and
love those people here.
well, and I feel like it's kind of unfair because women tend to get atypical symptoms. I see so I run a nonprofit for Lyme disease. I see lots and lots of people. Men get very traditional symptoms. Women, because of our hormones and different functions of our body, we get very weird stuff. And nobody
Mm.
knows where to put us because it just reacts very differently.
Oh, I think that's a really important thing, and I apologize for the cough drop in my mouth, but Um, I think that's a really interesting point and something that really needs to be brought out because We definitely, as women, I think we have not been handled properly in a lot of areas of society, but I think the medical profession is definitely one.
Yeah.
And it's because it has primarily been a male-dominated profession throughout history. And so when women come in, we are poorly understood. And the way that our hormones function are still not well understood, even by like gynecologists and women's specialists. Like they just don't understand how the constant fluctuation in our chemical system affects us. And it affects every woman differently, like we were talking about with
Yeah.
anything. So to be able to say as a perimenopausal woman who is like studying all of the, perimenopause symptoms and looking at it and being like, wow, like some women go through perimenopause and it's like, I didn't even know that happened. And other people are like incapacitated or they're gaining tons of weight or like so different and we have such a hard time managing that. So for something like Lyme and how that intersects with the women's systems, I think that's a really interesting area for study and, yeah, and advocacy to say we really need to figure it out and to realize that women often will have symptoms like you're talking about and they are chalked up to psychosomatic. Like, well, it's all in your head.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, it's in our chemicals, and so technically it's in our head, but it's not our fault.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's genetics, darn it.
that was a very shaping journey, of course, to be met with so much resistance and so much dismissal. And obviously it was tough, but like it has really shaped me into like, don't take no for an answer, like do your
Right.
own thing. And I think that's something that a lot of like farmers and women have been brought to this, that they're just tired of being told what's good for them and how to do
Oh, amen,
it.
sister. And definitely like listen to your body and trust your intuition because that's the other thing. Like we women have an incredible amount of intuition and we are told all the time that our intuition is not correct and we're told to ignore it and that's the worst thing we can do. So you know your body. If your body's not feeling right, push for an answer. And now you know that there's yet one more like ask for a Lyme test even if people are like it's not Lyme. You know what? It's one stupid test. It's easy. Like a blood draw, they send it off and do a tick panel. I tell people all the time, I'm like, do not settle for a single Lyme test. Get the full tick panel that they will give you because it might not be Lyme, but it might be another tick-borne illness, and they
Well,
will get
and
treated
just
a
to
little
twist the
differently.
knife, the standard tick test is less than 50% accurate.
Oh,
They actually legally must disclose that to you in our state in Virginia, which they don't. I have tried, it does not happen. But you
mm,
are actually supposed to be legally given a piece of paper that tells you that this testing is less than 50% accurate.
ouch.
Yep. So just to add the knife and twist it a little bit more. But
No, but again,
intuition, if you know something's wrong, something's
right.
wrong.
I think that's the thing because you really have to, at the end of the day, nobody else lives in your skin except
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And if you don't trust yourself, nobody else is going to listen to you. So,
Exactly.
oh, these chronic health journeys just kill me. So you were talking about using herbals, and while we are not doctors and while we are not offering medical advice, I am totally curious about what kind of herbals were working for you because we have a lot of farmers out here who are growing herbs or who are also into herbalism. That
Yeah.
tends to be the group of farmers that are attracted to our show.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what kind of herbals you ended up using and what worked for you, what didn't, that kind of thing.
Well, this helps legally protect me. I don't know. I went to an herbalist and she handed me bottles of mixtures, and I can tell you some of the things that were in it. But I put my faith in a very brilliant woman who is the woman who got me better. And but there are protocols out there like Buhner protocol or Cowden protocol or Vital Fit. Like there's a bunch of these different herbal mixtures. They tend to relatively be the same. There tends
Sure.
to be different components in it. So anyone can look them up and see crossover, and some of them can be grown in your backyard. Like Japanese knotweed is a very big one. It's considered an invasive weed that everybody's hacking down. Well, if you have Lyme disease, you have an endless supply of one of the herbals, right? So teasel root is a great one. Andrographis, like there's these very like staple herbals that
Yeah.
some people just even just teasel could be life changing for them, much less like the whole range. So
Right.
if you have any interest in herbalism and that stuff, those are great things that are very simple that really help people out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And there are lots of courses out there on herbalism because again, I do not recommend just growing random medicinal herbs and
no,
testing them out on yourselves. Like that is not a healthy way to do that. Do
no.
not do that because the same things that save your life can take your life. So
Yeah,
we
and
don't
there
want
are
to kill
poisonous
anybody.
plants, like, you better be sure that's what it is. Like, and that's why I always advocate that I did go to an herbalist. I went to somebody who was an expert in the field to
So
guide me
smart.
through
So
it.
smart
Yeah.
of you.
So,
See?
but everybody has to play their own cards and deal with their dealt. So,
Right. No, well, I strongly recommend that. I've got a friend who is studying herbalism and she has made me some beautiful tinctures for all kinds of stuff and tea mixes for all kinds of stuff. And she's amazing. So, but again, she has taken the time to get the training to, really learn what she's doing and to know what percentages and what preparations, because some things you can eat, some things you can tincture, some things you can apply topically,
it's
some things you can
so
consume. Like
complicated.
it is. It really, really is. And it is medicine. So like to remember that it's all natural, but it is medicine. So we want to be really respectful of that. So I love that story. So you finally got the right set of treatments for you. You start getting better. Where does that take you?
So by that time, I had ended up back home on my family farm. I hadn't been able to take care of myself. So my parents owned 60 acres of land outside of Blacksburg, Virginia, and it was leased to a conventional cattle farmer. And I know nothing about agriculture. It was not on my trajectory. I don't know what I'm doing. But I come home, and in the process of this recovery, I'm looking out the windows and I'm going, the farm looks bad. I don't know what that means. I don't know anything about farming, but I know this doesn't look good. Like
Hmm.
there's big bare patches of soil, like that the grass isn't growing. And like the guy that had cows on the land, like once a year, one of them would just fall over dead. And I'm like,
Oh,
is that normal? I don't
no.
think that's
I will tell you
normal.
that's not normal.
Right. So
As a
me
person who
not
grew up
knowing,
raising cattle, not normal. Anytime
right.
an animal just keels over, not normal.
And I'm going, this doesn't feel right. And I don't want to be like that, like know it all, like because I don't know anything about it. So I took it upon myself to start learning. I had extra time. So I saw Ellen Savory's TED Talk about restoring grasslands. And that just inspired me so much as like the holistic has been kicking in, what we feed ourselves matters, all of that started coming together. And so I took this interest in regenerative agriculture and restoring land and just kind of lost my mind, ran away with it. I got a few chickens and a few goats. And then the next thing I knew, there was a whole farm enterprise going. And it was so amazing to watch what small changes in how you raise animals could show that the land could restore and regenerate. And that just
Mm.
was magical to me, right? Like that was the
So
end.
talk to me about that. What are some of the small changes? Because we get a lot of regenerative farmers on here. And can I just say, I think that's the first time I've been able to say that word without having to say it twice. I'm really proud of myself.
Nice, nailed
Yes,
it.
doing great. But we get a lot of regenerative farmers on here, and they love to talk about how you can like completely heal the land. So I'm curious, what are some of the small steps that you've seen that have made a big difference in your family's property?
Yeah, so rotational grazing is just the number one. That's the biggest thing we focus on. That's the biggest impact measure we see. Basically, the conventional farmer, he came, threw the cows out, said, I'll see you in 8 months, right? Like,
Mm.
so ours are moved from place to place, that they eat the grass, move on, the grass has time to recover and grow. And just that simple thing has just changed. There are no more bare spots.
Wow.
I saw milkweed growing in the field the other day, and I grew up on this farm. I've never seen milkweed in my entire life, but it's in the seed bank and it was able to come back through rotational grazing.
Right.
Just I see things that I never saw as a child coming back just because grass is there. and it's
So
wild.
lots of diversity, a lot
Yep.
more diverse. Oh, that's beautiful. Um, and so you said, so I just kind of grew this farm business. So tell us what your farm business is looking like these days.
It's a hot mess, right? Having full-time work and a chronic illness and trying to maintain a farm is just purely a hot mess. We jumped in with so much enthusiasm and we did a lot of things, and then we had to kind of like scale back and go,
Mm,
okay, like what is working? Because I just wanted to do everything and I wanted everything to have a spot, and it wasn't really feasible. So at this point, we have when I started doing it, I wanted to raise endangered types of animals. So we
okay.
have Quatu donkeys, which are the big fuzzy long-haired donkeys, and
Yep.
there's less than I think 500 left in the world. So
Wow.
we're doing conservation efforts, and a lot of people don't think about rotationally grazing equine, but we do, and we have seen improvements.
Absolutely.
We have a couple rescue horses that have improved metabolically from
Mm.
being able to get the exercise they need, being on better grass. A lot of people go, "Oh, equines bloat." Turns out they don't. Like, turns out they just need exercise. What we do mostly for production is pigs. So the pigs have been really great at breaking up that compacted soil that I was telling you that soil wasn't even growing grass. So once you run the pigs over it, they fertilize it. It's amazing. There's a section that sometimes we hay, and you can't take pigs into it because tractor through the holes, nobody's happy. And
Oh,
then there's a section that we're allowed to like move the pigs on more because they can make the divots. And it's funny that even after 2 years, the grass is different colors. Like where the
yeah.
pigs have been is bright green and lush, and the hill that's hayed is still recovering. It hasn't bounced back.
I
So,
have heard that so much about pigs. Like I used to work in extension, and so I got to work with a lot of different types of farmers. And pigs are so great at reclaiming land and and claiming land. So even like woodlands, going in and taking a woodland and turning it into a pasture, like pigs are one of the best things you can do because
yeah,
they very quickly will transform the land. That rooting action definitely turns everything up, and there's something about their manure that just really
yeah,
is nutritious for the ground. And because I think it's they're not only just while they're leaving their manure, they're also tilling, kind of like
yeah,
surface tilling. And so it's this whole like process that they do that
yeah.
is really powerful. So yeah, I find that really interesting. So do they allow you to go back? Like, are you ever going to be able to put the pigs in that hillside area, or do they just really not want you there? Because I feel like pigs also do a good job of like kind of evening things out, even though they root stuff up. They make a mess while they're doing it in the beginning, but
Yeah, if I would had a more abundance of time, I could move them through it faster and they wouldn't create the gullies. But because I don't have the time to like move them like every couple days, that's
got
something
it.
that just they'll make their big wallows, and
Got
you
it.
know, an expensive tractor is
Oh no,
something
no.
you
Yeah,
don't
you
want to mess
don't.
with.
Let me
So
tell you, I was on the top of more, oh dear, I was on the top of more than one hay wagon when it hit a woodchuck hole, and the whole hay
yep.
wagon would shake, and like a corner of the hay is going down, and everybody's grabbing the kids, like hauling them up so we don't die. And yeah, so no, I totally get the you don't want wallows
Yep.
in your hayfield.
Yeah. So my alternative is I'm going to try to focus on that with cattle and goat integration to try to like do that. It's not going to be the same. It'll take a little bit longer, but just that's kind of the calls you got to make,
Yeah.
like which is interesting, and that's why I think it's fascinating, right? You can do a million things to regenerate, but like what are your goals? What are your outcomes? That's where I just get lost, and it's fun.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I love what you're saying that it's different for every piece of property and every farmer
Yeah.
because this is my thing. Like we start from the farmer and we move out. So like what are your personal goals? What are your parameters? What are your time limitations? What are, what do you have that you can put into the system? And then how do you make the system give back in the way that you need it? So, yeah, it might take a little bit longer, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. You're
Yeah,
still every step in the right direction is a step in the right direction.
exactly.
Yeah. So, so you've got the pigs, you've got your donkeys and some horses. Um, what else are you doing on the property?
Yeah, so we do a lot of agritourism, or we did previously. It's so great to bring people to the farm, and that's been a great revenue source for us because when we originally started it, it wasn't so much based on production, it was based on regenerating the soil. And while that's amazing, it doesn't really pay a lot. So we brought in agritourism
Ah,
to
money.
help people, experience and see what we're doing, and that's been really fun. So
And
that's
what does
I
that
do
look like
recommend
for
that.
you? What does the agritourism look like for you? Because everybody does it so differently.
Yeah, Airbnb stays are mostly, and VBRO and all the other platforms, but we have people come, and I find that we need to like dip their toes into it. Like they're not ready for farm tours, they're not ready for like the whole educational spiel that I want to give them, but they're happy to come and look. And then they go, "Hey, I've noticed this is different from what I've seen on other farms." And then they give me the foot in, and then I can start into
Yeah.
trying not to overwhelm them with all the reasons I'm excited about it. But it's been really great to just like open those doors, and then people might come back like the year after, or and come stay again, and they slowly get pulled into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that every little bit of education that we do is critical. Like it's
Yeah,
really, really important that we be able to educate everybody, like
yeah,
in whatever small way that we do it. And so I absolutely love that. And it's a perfectly legitimate way of helping to keep the farm financially viable, you know.
yeah. It saves a lot of farms, and that's why I think agritourism is amazing. Is it complicated? Is it hard to do? Definitely, but that bringing people back to the land, connecting, and keeping a lifeline for the farm, like that's amazing.
Yeah, and let me ask you because I know some people like the idea of agritourism and the fact of the revenue, but there are some tricky things about having people on your property, especially people you don't know. You have no idea who's coming onto your property. You have no idea what their background is. You have no idea what their biases are. Like it can be a little nerve-wracking and tricky. And so can you tell me some best practices that you've had or maybe some like points for people to consider if maybe they're thinking, oh, well, I've got a place I could turn into a little Airbnb. What do I do? Or I could buy a tent and do some glamping or what are some advice some pieces of advice you would give for people in that?
Yeah, fences and signs all day, all night, and then another layer of fencing. So with our farm, we tend to have a fence layer that surrounds the house, and then like another layer that the animals are behind. And the people come, and I watch people put hands on electric fence. That fortunately, like the electric fence that surrounds the house is old and out of date, and we built a different one that's farther out. But you just watch people touch electric fence every day and you go, okay, I need two layers, right? Like nobody understands what an electric fence is. So even though I have this
But
is
it only
electric
takes
fence,
once. Let's be honest. It only takes once. You get
right? But
knocked
I
to the
don't think
ground
they're
once.
coming back. Because I have all the little like this is electric fence signs like
Oh,
zip tied all over the farm. It doesn't matter. People aren't. It doesn't connect. That's not part of everybody's normal life. So have a layer of fence that is protective, and then have the animals farther out because people are going to reach. Everybody assumes petting zoo. Like I have signs that say animals bite. Don't put your hands here. So I just lots and lots of signs. I do prep all the guests before they come on site. I say this is a working farm. This is not a petting zoo. I establish like
yep.
this is pigs eat things like humans. Like don't do it. So.
That's funny. That's funny. I'm thinking back to our pigs because we had two sets of two pigs. We didn't have a lot of pigs, but we had a total of four pigs growing up. And I'm like, huh, they didn't eat us. They were really gentle.
Well, and it depends, right, on the type of pig. We have pasture pigs, very likely not going to eat somebody. I have also seen people with pasture pig operations that they go in and they give shots and the pig reacts and bites somebody, right?
Oh,
It's those are
good
freak
to know.
accidents, hormones, just they are still animals at the end of the
Correct.
day. So
That's great.
I can control my own stupidity. I can't necessarily control the stupidity of other people, and that might come in a totally different flavor. So I really try to establish like really clear boundaries. These are animals. Be on your alert. Have safety measures. And especially for your insurance and stuff, insurance will usually not allow you to have people directly interacting with animals, especially without supervision. So
Mm,
that kind of thing.
yeah. Okay. So all those caveats if you're looking to get into agritourism.
Yeah.
So you didn't just limit yourself to the farming and the agritourism though. You're kind of branching out into further areas. Talk to me about those.
Yeah. So about after year 5, I was very tired because I would not say that the farm was like thriving profitably. Like, it was doing its thing and it was great, but I hadn't made any money. I hadn't lost a ton of money, but I had not lost $0. And I was going, well, dang, if we want people to keep farming and it isn't financially viable, how the heck are we supposed to do this? Because I
Good
came
question.
in with the passion and the enthusiasm, but weird, there was no money in it. And I already had free land. I can't imagine people who didn't have access to inherited family land, right? Like
Right.
they're never turning a profit. So I went, oh, well, this is all very important and needs to exist, but it is not sustainable at all in practice. So I wanted to really find a way that people could connect to their farmers and support them. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy local for a year. Like, I live in rural Virginia. There are farms up and down the road. Probably not going to be this hard, right? I
Super
think I made
hard.
it 4 months buying beef mostly locally and a couple other things. But I couldn't even get past that. I couldn't just get stocked in beef for a year in the middle of cattle country.
Wow.
And I would call somebody and they say, "Oh yeah, I'll have it in 8 months." Or I have it, but I only have 5 pounds. I'm sold out. I'm like, well, I'm looking for like 30, 40. Like it just was all this like guessing. And I just kept calling and kept calling. And I eventually got tired of playing the
Sure.
runaround. The farmers don't want to be chasing down somebody who said they were going to buy 6 months ago. Are they still going to buy? I don't know. So it was just this whole headache. And I went, okay, clearly there needs to be a better way. So I started Red Hen app, which is basically Airbnb or Etsy for farming.
Mm,
You, as a farmer, go in, upload what you have. If you want to do pickup, delivery, or shipping, set your parameters, and people can look and find you right now, right? So
yeah.
you want hatching eggs and you want them shipped to your door. Okay, found a farmer that does that. Okay, I want pork raised with non-GMO feed. I can go find that right now. It just, if it was so difficult for me, who was motivated and entwined in my farming community, and I couldn't do it, I
Right.
can't imagine what it's like for people who are less motivated. So I wanted to remove the excuses to buy from local farmers and support them directly.
So interesting. So it's like you came. Okay, so what I'm really liking about this is that you came at it first as a producer saying, this current model is not financially sustainable for me. There's got to be a better way. And so then you switched approaches and said, I wonder what it's like for the consumers trying to support producers. And so you went at it with a consumer mindset and realized that, yeah, well, it wasn't easy for the consumer either. So, which right there, I mean, that's a beautiful model because so many times as producers, we're stuck in our producer mentality and we're like, well, I don't know why people just don't buy stuff from me. I don't know why this and we really truly do not understand the consumer side of it because we're so wrapped up in the producer side of it. But you switched that and you were like, well, let me see what the consumers struggle with. And then you're like, well, gee whiz, I can't do it as either a consumer or a producer. So how the heck is our food system even working? And so talk to me about this app because I find this whole concept fascinating. This is not a local app. This is a nationwide right now. Like one day we'd like to go global. So if any of you out there know anybody who's like an investor who wants to support food systems, you got a girl you could maybe
We got
connect with.
things. We just need money. We'll make it
We just need money. So, the
big.
money. Come on. There are a lot of people. If there is one thing we're learning these days, there are a lot of people out there with a lot of money and they're doing really bad things with it. So maybe we can get them to take that money and focus it in some
Let's
good
do
things.
some good stuff.
I don't know, novel idea, but
Right.
This would be amazing. So right now it's United States based. And talk to me about the whole process of building this app out and what it does, how people can connect with the with local resources. I mean, it's one thing if you're getting things shipped, some of it we can get shipped across the country. It's not a big deal, but chances are if you're looking for like local beef and that kind of stuff, you don't want to be shipping it because that's part of the whole buy local. The beauty of buy local is that we're saving on shipping, which right now is just getting astronomically expensive with, gas at for eight, however many dollars a gallon. Um, so talk to me about the building of the app.
Yeah, I have no coding background, so I went to a great company and had them build it out for us. So, no fancy tricks there, but essentially I came with all the like, these are the nuances that I wanted to be ready for farms. These are the nuances from the customer side, and they built the app. That's a really great integration. Like, there's just small things like with my farm, I don't want people to just be randomly showing up on it. I'm not prepared for that. So what I do is I have a function that it can hide your address until you have agreed to like purchase something from a farm. Like those
Nice.
are kind of the small details that those were the things that were really important in someone from Silicon Valley making an app to help farmers and me just having lived the experience. So
Right.
like you're talking about, like if you want to order a half share of a cow, like there's no way in the world that's shipping, right? So that would only be set for pickup, as opposed to if I'm a honey producer, that can ship all day and I can set different parameters for those different things. So
Yeah.
in the app, like down to the per product level, you can set what you want to do, you set your pricing, all that good stuff. It's
Oh,
free to
so each
list.
product, so for
Yeah.
each individual product, you can
Yeah.
choose as a producer, you can choose whether it's pickup, delivery,
Yeah.
or like a drop off, maybe. I don't know. Do
Yeah.
people do like, or a
Yeah,
market or something
delivery.
like
Yeah,
that? I don't know
yeah,
how.
yeah. So
um,
if I do cow shares, those I would set for like delivery or local only. And like I said, the honey could be shipped. Like you can set every single individual thing. It's free to list, and basically the app takes a percentage of the transaction when you make a sale, which is
Okay.
around 4% total. It's a straight fee and a 2% fee. But that way, like it didn't cost you anything to list, because I hate the subscriptions. Like pay
Yeah.
me $40 a month and you might make sales. Well, that's not very helpful.
Right.
So
Sure.
I wanted people to just be able to upload their offering, and that way, like farmers only have to pay, and you can raise your prices and set all your different parameters. And as far as the consumer side, kind of same thing. There's only a transaction when there's a purchase, so that you can choose what you want.
Oh, good. So consumers don't have to like they can sign up, but it's not like a fee,
No fees.
pay to play
It's
kind of thing. They can just
no,
show up and
like
check out the
Etsy.
app. Oh, I
There's
love
a
that. Love
yeah
that.
minor transaction fee when it goes through, because I didn't want there to be any reasons not to buy and not to support. Like, we have enough barriers, and obviously it had to be monetized in some way. But that
Yeah.
I figured was the least amount of barriers. And like you said, with the shipping, like I want people to just be able to get whatever they want. Everybody has their different ethos about how they choose what food they buy and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. And no judgments, right? If you want it, it's there and it's available. Like I know shipping meat is really tedious, but some people have food allergies from alpha gal. So there's very like specific meats that they need. So we have found there are some farmers that are shipping very specific meats that only people with alpha gal sensitivities can eat. So I still think meat should be shipped for those reasons. Like,
Yeah,
should you
absolutely.
sure support your local producers if you can? Absolutely, right?
Sure.
But
No, but
everybody
I
has
think
such
that's a really
different
good,
things.
no, that's a really good point because, and some farmers are not set up for that. A
Yeah,
lot of smaller farmers, they're just not gonna go through all the hoops because although
it's a lot.
I'm sure that shipping
Yeah,
meat, like I know what it's taken to be able to sell local meat at a farmer's market in Rhode Island. So, I mean, I know the amount of time, effort, policy, advocacy that had to happen for that to happen.
right.
And to sell it off your farm, a whole nother set of things. So
Yep,
the thought of like what it takes to ship it and making sure that it can stay at temperature and all of that stuff, like that's a whole level of fun that a lot of people do not want to go into. And
exactly.
so, not everybody's going to do that. But
Yeah,
there are farmers who, as you say, that's their business model. That's what they
yeah,
do. And so Yeah, that's amazing. So as a consumer, when you go on, you can pick like your region or what kind of filters do you have?
Yeah, so you open it up and it'll basically just populate like farms that are near you, and you can click and see what they have. And then you can go to the top and select pickup, delivery, or filter or shipping filters. So like if you go over and select the shipping, you can only see the farms that would ship it directly to your door.
Nice.
Or you could go into the search function and look up something specific. Like I just did a feature on bison ground beef that's shipping, not
Yep.
ground beef, ground bison that's shipping. And so like you would just go into the search bar, type ground bison, and it would come up and you could see like what are the options that are available for that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a surprisingly, we've got a bison farm not far from us in Connecticut. And so,
So good.
yeah, oh, and they're so cute. My gosh, they're just so cute. Like to just go and hang out and watch
I'm
them.
like, they're delicious. You're like, they're cute.
I know. They're so
Both are true.
I love all kinds of meat. So it's like all meat is delicious to me. But
Yeah.
but yeah, they're just so big and
They are.
fuzzy and oh my gosh, they're just like cuddly. I
Yeah.
love them. You can't really cuddle them. They don't like to be cuddled.
No,
But
but
but they're so cute.
they
They feel
are.
they give that cuddly ethos. I love it. Um so that is fascinating. And so for farmers, how do farmers get on there and put what they want? And how often do they need to update? What does that look like? What is that process?
Yeah, I compare to Etsy, drive your own ship. Like I'm not here to manage you. You download Red Hen app for farms, and there's Red Hen app for customers. There's two different buyer and seller app. You upload your
Ah,
inventory. You
so
can be
oh, that's
selling.
interesting. So hold
Yeah,
on. So there are two different apps, but they
yeah,
interface with each other,
yeah,
correct?
yeah. One's a buyer app, one's a seller app.
Oh, so if you wanted to be a buyer and a seller, you would need to download both apps.
Until I find more money and combine them. But
Ah, see, investors, investors.
but yeah, so right now they're two different interfaces, and so I have both on my phone because I use it to buy and I also use it to sell.
Right.
So
Oh, fascinating. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. So the buyers download, I mean the sellers download the seller app.
yep, and upload your offering, set up a Stripe account to take the payments, and set it to list. Like I've seen people set up in 10 to 15 minutes. It doesn't take much, and that way you drive the ship. Like if you're going on vacation, turn it off. It remove like you don't have to delete it. You just toggle this that it's not public. And then when you come back from vacation, turn it back on and start selling again. Like you
So it's
drive
like
your
you
own ship.
disappear off of the search function altogether. So it's like, or
Yeah,
do you have an option where you can put on vacation so people know you're there but
I
don't?
just say
Or
to shift to not public right now if you're not available to send it,
okay.
because a lot of small producers, like the inventory is a very difficult thing. So, for example, like one of the main motivators to start it is when I take my pigs to market, I take 5 pigs to market, and all of a sudden I have like 700 pounds of meat, right? Like I have so much. And then when I don't have it, I'm completely out. So I wanted it to be when I list, okay, I have 700 pounds of pork up until I'm out. When I'm out, I disappear from the app because I don't have anything available to sell. That way, consumers are not spending their time going, well, you used to have stuff. Do you have it? No, the inventory is up to date. Like what's there is there. And that way, like, we don't spend this rodeo going around like, are you sure you still have it? That's what wastes consumers' time. And that's where consumers tend to fall off.
Oh, interesting. Really interesting. So I'm thinking about this kind of as a consumer and also as a business owner, but more as a consumer. So have you talked to consumers at all about what it's like when they kind of find a farmer they like, and then that farmer kind of ghosts them because they just disappear,
Yeah.
and then they pop up again? Like, how do we help consumers to understand that maybe rhythm of the posting so that the farmers don't have to like rebuild their clientele all the time?
Well, so my
Does that
goal
make sense?
is that there's enough offering that so if you say my chicken gal is out, she went on vacation for a week to the beach, we'll open up the app and I'll just find another chicken buyer. And
Right.
it's not that you lose your consumer, like they just are, when you come back, they'll be able to see your product again and they'll
Mm,
be able to see who you are. And a lot of people had concerns about, well, isn't this going to create a lot of competition? My goal is for there not to be competition because we can't all individually feed everybody every single day, right?
right.
Our chickens will have a heat month where they aren't laying as well, or, it's the farm. It is not a vending machine that everything comes out every single day. And
Sure.
so my argument is if your farm has something they can't sell, why wouldn't it just benefit you that somebody else is selling and replacing that?
Right.
Because overall, isn't it better that we buy directly from a farmer rather than that person having to go to a grocery store while you're on vacation?
Yeah, no, no, no. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. I think I'm thinking that I'm thinking as a consumer. Like I have certain brands, certain
Yeah,
farms, certain whatever that for whatever reason, I have an affinity for. And
yeah,
so, like, I gravitate towards those people.
yeah,
And if suddenly they like disappear from view,
yeah.
and I have no understanding of why that happened, they're just not there. And I'm like, well, what happened? And so I'm like, "Mm, okay, well, I'll buy from these guys because I need that. I need the stuff, but I'm really kind of miffed that you didn't do that. Um, then I might be more likely to actually search for the farm that was there when I needed them, as opposed to the farm that I liked before who wasn't there when I wanted to do something. Does that make sense? So I'm just wondering because there is a
Yeah,
customer loyalty thing, and I'm curious as to how that works.
yeah. So on the app, you can heart your favorite farms. So it'll curate like your favorite people. And so that
Yeah.
way, when they come back, you'll know that they're back. And I think like farmers do a pretty good job of like communicating to the customers. Like
Oh, that's good.
it's
Okay.
not like they're out like every other week. Like usually when they leave, it's 1 week a year, possibly, if they
Right.
do get to go on
Well,
vacation.
that is
So,
that is a an
I
adult thing. Yes.
it's not something I've come across yet because I think people understand that farming is very volatile. Like the one incident we had, Texas, somebody was buying eggs and the deep freeze came through and the chickens stopped laying eggs, so there were not eggs that week. And I think that's really important. Yes, we do have to manage that customers are unhappy about that, but also like this is what real farming is. We are not a
Sure.
grocery store that will happen. And I think the more we bring customers into the fact that this is reality, the more they can actually appreciate when they get that product what an act of God it took to get that product to their
Yeah.
table. So
Yeah. So what system is there? What system is there for the farms and the consumers to communicate directly? Because I'm picturing it kind of like buying off of Amazon. Sorry.
yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
was
you
an Amazon
can
addict and I'm trying to
you
wean
can
myself
message
off of
the
Amazon.
farm in the app.
But the lovely thing about Amazon is you go on, you find what you want.
Yeah,
It's almost always there from somebody. And but you don't usually like have a whole lot of connection with the actual company. Like you just kind of buy their stuff and go.
right. On
Um,
the app, you can open up a message with the farm and chat directly with them if you have
okay.
questions.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
then do the farmers have the ability to add their customers to like a newsletter or a mailing list or something like that? How does that work?
Not yet. Future upgrades
Future
is we would
upgrades.
like to do like bumps and alerts and things like so. The app has only been live for 10 months, so we don't
Oh,
have
it's
all
a
the bells
baby
and
app.
whistles
It's a
yet.
baby app. Okay, so
It
this is my gift. My gift is breaking things. I am really
is.
good at breaking tech. So this is where it's great to have somebody like me on here because I think about all the things that I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to have that? Oh,
Yeah.
and so yeah, no. So I think that's a really great because that would then address the issue of, I can send my regulars a little note saying, hey, we're going to be off for the week, so don't panic. Go get your stuff from another local farmer and we'll be back.
Yeah, and
Something,
that's where
something
the messenger is there in the short run to ask questions about products or let people know why it would be delayed and things like that.
great.
But when we build it out further, like you'll be able to do your favorites list and get alerts and bumps and all that good stuff. And that's all future upgrades.
Oh, so no, totally love it. Totally love it. So it sounds like you have been getting some kind of feedback even in those first 10 months. So what are some of the
Yeah.
positives that you're hearing from both sides? How are the
Uh,
farmers liking it, seeing as
yeah,
they're
just that it's
already
easy, right? Like everything needs to be easy. We're in the day of Amazon and
Yeah, well, it's
everything
true.
has to be easy. And just customers like it because instead of kind of like going through searching through Google, finding the farm, all that stuff, it takes all that out of it. So the connections have been really facilitated much easier is what we like. Um, People hate that there are not enough farms on it. I have gotten so many angry emails that they want farms, which I take as a passionate response, right? Like they are so excited about it that they're
That's a
angry when
good
they're
thing.
not
Well, that it is a
there.
good thing. When you've got
Yeah,
people saying you're not doing enough of what you're doing, like
right.
what you're doing
Yep.
hasn't reached far enough and
Yep.
you're only 10 months in. Like I
Yeah.
think that's a really important framework for this is that if you're getting this kind of passion 10 months in, that means that this is a really untapped market. And
Yeah.
so like
People want
huge
to
market
connect.
opportunity.
They want food, they want to buy local, and they are so passionate about it that they're frustrated when it doesn't happen for them. So at this point, I'm just like, if you farm, give this a try. Like, I've got people who are dying to buy from you. Like, does that mean that the minute you sign up, orders will pour in? No, but like, there are so many people that are motivated, and we just got to close that density. We got to find our neighbors, we got to connect, and it's wanted. You're
Yeah.
wanted, your products are wanted. So, we just got to start getting there.
No, I think that's a great thing. And oh my gosh, I just looked at the clock and said, "Oh, you got to wrap this up, girl." So I can talk this app for hours because I am a non-techie
Yeah.
in the extreme, but I find that the people who are using tech to support real farm issues I just really tend to resonate with them and I just love what they're doing because it's a skill that I don't have. And I know enough about tech to be like, "Oh, this should be possible." You know, I have
Yeah.
no idea how to do it. It's like working with a spreadsheet. Like I can go to my Excel spreadsheet and say, I know that my Excel spreadsheet can gather information from that sheet and this sheet and put it together and analyze it and give me this information. I know it can do it. And how to do that, I have to Google every single time because I'm like, I forget how to do these formulas and it takes me 10 times longer than it would take anybody else. But so I have this passion because I'm like, oh, the tech should be able to make this happen. And so to see people who are saying, heck yeah, the tech should be able to make it happen and we're making it happen, I think that's amazing. So very quickly, how many farmers do you currently have on the app 10 months
Yeah.
in?
Yep, 400 farms are active. I think it's 415 as of today, and I think we're at 7,400 customers as of this morning. So,
Okay.
yeah. So people want
Okay.
it.
This is why I
No,
don't do that.
there's infinitely more
There are a
customers than
lot
there
more
are farms.
customers. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, and
So
that's
10
that's my
times.
frustration with a lot of apps is that they serve the farms, but they're not bringing the customers. Customers are there. People like it.
Yeah,
People
almost
want to
20
buy.
times. I think it's almost 20
There you
times.
go. She's
Almost
got it
20.
now.
There you go. I had to think. Sorry. Okay. Phew. Phew. There's almost 20 times as many customers as there are farms, which
Yep.
means that there is exponential room for growth for farmers on this
Yep.
platform if we
Yep.
can get them signed up.
Yep.
So we're going to have to make a push and really advertise this through our farmers. So every farmer listening to this episode, I'm going to challenge you to download the Red Hen app. I am going to download the Red Hen app. Whew. Before we get to all that, I'm going to have to wrap up today's episode. And so, Lauren, I'm going to ask you my signature question. If you had one piece of advice that every farmer should know, what would that be?
So the farmer, whew, farmers don't need advice, right? They're out there toiling and getting it done. I think what I would encourage farmers to do is to think long term about the systems that are going to work on their farm because I see
Mm.
people that come in with so much like passion and energy, but not a plan. And then by year three, they're tending to fall apart because they haven't really formulated how they're going to keep going. So I encourage people to think about how can you make this work not for 2 years, but for 10 years, but for 15 years? And how do you make this align with your lifestyle? And from personal experience, it's not buy every type of animal and go all at once. It's like, find a system that works with your lifestyle and what you're doing and that you can keep doing for a long time.
Yeah, that sustainability piece. So plan for sustainability. Oh, I love it, Lauren. Thank you so much. I have Really enjoyed this. Wow, this was a really fun conversation. I want to thank all of you out there for joining us, and we will see you next time on Food, Flowers, and Fun. Bye.
How do you multiply by fractions, Mom?
Farmworks calling, our show is all done. Goodbye, farewell, so long, adieu. See you next week, same time, same place for Food, Flowers, and Fun. Go in peace. Visit us at www.penlightfarmers.com.